Up next in Win News Tasmania, Susan Neal Fraser's last-ditch bid for freedom returns to court. Find out why police divers are scouring a river north of Hobart, and the Devonport Strikers FFA Cup dream over. See you soon.
Across Tasmania, this is Win News.
Tonight, drama as Susan Neal Fraser's last-ditch freedom bid makes a heated return to court. Jake Anderson Bretner's family and friends in court for his accused killer's first appearance, and the government's controversial gun reforms fall at the first hurdle. Good evening, I'm Bruce Roberts. Also tonight, find out why police divers are scouring a river north of Hobart, and snow lovers enjoy what's being touted as the best day of the year so far at Ben Lomond. The Supreme Court has been played film seized from a production company, apparently showing people making up a statutory declaration in support of Susan Neal Fraser's last-ditch appeal bid. The case returned to court today with lawyers repeatedly clashing over the evidence.
She's been her mother's biggest supporter, and Sarah Bowles returned to court for the final stages of Susan Neal Fraser's fight against her conviction for the murder of Bob Chappell aboard their yacht. Sophie Coral, Win News.
Family and friends of murdered Launceston man Jake Anderson Bretner were in court today as his accused killer made his first appearance. 26-year-old Jack Harrison Sadler has been charged with murder and his partner an accessory after the fact.
Friends and family of 24-year-old Jake Anderson Bretner filled the back of the courtroom today.
Police divers have spent the day scouring the river beneath the Jordan Bridge in Hobart's north as investigations continue into the shooting of a 24-year-old father. Search crews are looking for a gun and other items believed to have been thrown into the river following the incident. Caleb Woods was shot in the stomach at his grandmother's Bridgewater unit around 8:30 Sunday night. His attacker is still at large and police believe he used this blue Holden Commodore in the getaway. The young dad remains in a serious condition in the Royal Hobart Hospital. A Blackstone Heights couple has been found guilty of 3 breaches of the Animal Welfare Act. It comes after Cleo the Great Dane was seized from their property in March last year, and a warning some viewers may find the images in this story distressing.
Cleo was emaciated when she was seized by the RSPCA in March 2017.
A woman has been taken to hospital with leg injuries after she was struck by a car in Launceston this afternoon. The collision occurred on the Esplanade near the Charles Street Bridge at around 3:30. Last year, a 70-year-old man sustained serious injuries after he was hit by a bus at the other end of the bridge. The Premier has been quizzed over his government's decision to pay out disgraced former staffer Martine Hayley during the election campaign. It was a bad day for the government, with its controversial gun reforms knocked back by the Legislative Council.
The government's last bit of ammunition before firing off its gun reforms has been shot down at the first hurdle, with the Select Committee in charge of overseeing the proposed laws saying it's no longer proceeding with an inquiry. Ainsley Kosh, Win News.
One of the leading tech gurus behind Barack Obama's 2012 re-election campaign has touched down in Hobart, sharing his knowledge with local students and business leaders. Harper Reid says technology is an ever-changing beast and Tasmanians need to be wary of cyber security.
American tech whiz Harper Reid was Barack Obama's chief technology officer during one of the most important campaigns of the former president's career.
After the break tonight on Win News Tasmania, World Vision's first Australian female CEO visits Hobart, and a takeaway shop in the state's north doing its bit to help drought-affected farmers. World Vision Australia's first female CEO was in Hobart today, spruiking female empowerment. Claire Rogers says all women can be future leaders and help those less fortunate.
Claire Rogers has dedicated the past 2 years of her life to helping impoverished communities across the globe. She left her job at ANZ Bank to help change lives for the better through World Vision Australia.
A takeaway shop in the state's north is doing its bit to help drought-affected farmers. Shaker's Takeaway is doing just that, shaking tins to raise funds. And as Eleanor Watt reports, the wider Exeter community is getting involved.
They're a small business in a small town, pitching in to help those in need.
Knowing firsthand how much they actually contribute to our dinner tables each and every day and how important they are to us, I said, well, how about we do a fundraiser?
Joining many across the country, the family-owned Shaker's Takeaway is lending a helping hand to drought-stricken farmers. All proceeds will go directly to buy a bale. Eleanor Watt, Win News.
It's time for some Midweek Sport with Brent Costelloe and Brent, a Tassie-born AFL coach. His reign in the Den is to continue.
It certainly is, Bruce. Chris Fagan will remain at the helm of the Lions in Brisbane. Also tonight, Devonport's dream over. The Strikers knocked out of the FFA Cup.
This report brought to you by Mazda CX-3. Hurry in for added value this August.
Devonport has fallen short in its quest to make history again after being bundled up in the FFA Cup's round of 16 overnight. It was a gutsy first half from the Tasmanian team, but sadly the Strikers fell away. A red card late in the game putting a sour note on the 4-1 loss.
On a cool Melbourne evening, Devonport was fired up and ready to roll on all cylinders. And the Strikers had a contingent of travelling supporters to match.
Tasmanian-born AFL coach Chris Fagan says he's committed to lifting the Brisbane Lions back to finals after signing a 2-year contract extension, tying him to the club until at least the end of 2021. Fagan took the reins at Brisbane in 2016.
We're growing as a footy club. People are starting to take notice of us. People are starting to be a bit more critical of us. That's because they're starting to fear us, and we just need to keep growing and get better.
The Tasmanian took to Twitter today, confirming he suffered 2 perforated eardrums in the 3rd and 6th rounds of Saturday night's bout. Jackson telling his followers he wanted to finish the fight, but respects his coach and team's decision, going on to say he'll live to fight another day. We hope so, Bruce. Fingers crossed that happens.
Absolutely. We'll see him boxing on to the future. Thank you very much for that, Brent. We have Hayley Francis joining us now with your weather details. And what can we expect tomorrow, Hayley?
Evening, Bruce and Brent. Well, the cold mornings won't be going anywhere. We'll see widespread frost, but an otherwise mostly fine day with light possible showers in the west. The full details next. Welcome back. Isolated light showers fell about the east coast this morning. Otherwise, there were fine conditions across Tasmania with generally light winds. Taking a look around the state today, a top of 14 degrees at King Island and a low of 0 degrees at Flinders. The mercury reached 13 at Smithton, Scottsdale and St Helens. Winds gusted to 22 kilometres an hour at Devonport this morning. Very cold for the Central Plateau. Some parts, including Lyowini, is slipping to -6 degrees, but feeling more like -9. 13 millimetres fell in the gauge at Port Arthur overnight, with showers clearing in the morning, and Huonville started the day at 1 degree. On the satellite and synoptic chart, a ridge of high pressure lies over Tasmania, bringing light winds. This will weaken tomorrow as a low moves over South Australia and extends a trough toward King Island in the evening. Onto the waters. In the north, variable winds about 10 knots with a westerly swell below a metre. For the east, seas will be around 1 metre on a southeasterly swell around 1.5 metres. The south will have northwesterly winds up to 15 knots with a southwesterly swell up to 3 metres. And in the west, northeast to northwesterly winds up to 15 knots with seas below a metre. As for warnings, a road weather alert has been issued for ice on susceptible roads across the state tomorrow morning, so do be careful out there. Taking a look at the forecast for tomorrow. Fine conditions will continue apart from possible light showers about the west. Widespread frost is expected across the state in the morning and winds will remain light. Oatlands heading for a top of 12 and Hobart a top of 14 expected after a low of 4 degrees. Interstate tomorrow, partly cloudy conditions for Perth, sunny and clear skies at Alice Springs and areas of fog in the morning for Darwin. Looking ahead in Tasmania along the northwest coast, mostly sunny on Friday and Saturday with possible showers by early next week. For Launceston, the chance of morning fog over the next few days as the minimum temperature gradually warms up a few degrees. And for Hobart, partly cloudy conditions ahead with rainfall returning early next week. That's all from me tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And Bruce, it's back over to you.
Thank you very much for that, Hayley. Now, before I go tonight, some of Tasmania's youngest bookworms have celebrated National Book Week by dressing up as their favourite story character. The Lenders Fund primary school students also met some special guests who shared their favourite picture books.
I named him Gumboots. He is soft and beautiful with very sharp claws for scratching.
And yes, that is WIN's very own Lucy Braden hosting Storytime at Brent Costelloe's old primary school. And speaking of Brent Costelloe, he will join you throughout the evening with news updates. Thank you for your company tonight across Tasmania this Wednesday, August 22. That is how we saw you news. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow from 6 o'clock.